Well, it is finally dry enough to cut beans. Ground conditions a little less than ideal. It's kind of wet down there in that center of that swale right there. I had to cut around because there's a wet spot there. This is actually the first year I've farmed this field that I was actually able to plant through it last spring. Well, I can't cut through it now because you sink. The water actually runs across this fence line, through this field, through this swale, and then down and exits and out through them woods right there. So it is what it is. You could fix it with tile, but not my field. If it was my field, the fence rows would be cut back 15 foot all the way around, because that's how far you can go, and there'd be tile in it, and then this would be a pretty decent field. But maybe one day when he decides to sell out. His wife wants to sell it to me, but he doesn't want to sell it because it's the family farm. They don't live out here, they live in town. The house has got a hole in the roof because a tree branch fell through it a couple years ago in a storm, but they won't sell it. But anyway, I made 2 rounds on Friday. They were still 17%. And yesterday, after I got that straw loaded up, I came out here. I wasn't expecting to even run anything, but I got that straw loaded up. It was about 6:30, quarter after 6, something like that. So I came out here and checked them. It's like, damn, they're cracking. So I made a round just to check, and they were down to 14.4, which is within range of what the elevator will take. And they probably only dried more overnight, because to tell you the God's honest truth, I don't think we had to do last night. I probably could have been out here about an hour and a half ago, because it's 11 o'clock now, I think. I wasn't expecting, 11:13. I was not expecting to be able to do any cutting, or at least I wasn't expecting to start until at least noon because of the dew we've been getting. Well, I should say frost. It's been frosting hard, but we didn't have any of that this morning. No frost on the truck, no dew in the yard, no nothing. But I'd have been out here sooner, but I was expecting dew, so I delivered that load of straw this morning, and then expecting dew. I had a landlord, I promised I'd be over there at 10 o'clock this morning to pay him rent. Well, I wish I'd have told him I had to wait, because I'd have been out here at 9 cutting beans if I could have been. But anyway, hopper's full, so I got to get unloaded. Starting with Dad's truck, because it's going to be easier to hide that wet slug that's in there in his truck. I'm going to hopefully be able to throw it all to one side, pack it in a corner. So it's going to be a little harder for him to find it with the probe. It's not being dishonest, it's just playing the game. Beginning to wonder if we were ever going to be able to cut, but I'm getting started early enough today. I probably got about 2 hours out here, and then I gotta move, and when I move I gotta swing by Mom and Dad's, and we are going to fuel the combine up, and I gotta do something I want to change on the head real quick, but I need the welder to do it. It's no big deal, it'll take 5 minutes. And then head over to the other field, the last field, and should be able to knock the shit out of that today. And just have a little bit left to finish up tomorrow. And then hopefully tomorrow afternoon, we'll be down on the muck hill and chore. Get as much of that done as I can before that next round of rain hits. Which we don't have good chances, but at this point in the game, a rain chance is a rain chance. So, I'm gonna get this hopper empty and finally get to cutting. Took me 2 hours on the dot. Dad already went down. The elevator's got one hell of a line going on. I mean, one hell of a line. I ain't seen, it's probably been 2 years since I've seen trucks backed up that far. They're clear out to the road. I don't know what the fuck they're doing down there, but there's 8 acres here. Dad's truck wasn't heat, but it was pretty full. There's probably 300 bushel on there. There should be at least another 120-ish on here. So they were at least 50 bushel beans. They'd have done better, but that low spot down there stayed wet and they were kind of short and stunted. And then the top of that hill gets really dry real easy, and they were kind of short and stunted over there. But like halfway over this knob and everything, like from halfway back over here, they were doing, I could make 2 rounds and have a full hopper. I got to that side of the field, I could make 3 rounds and get a full hopper, so that was the difference. But 400 bushel is going to be the 50 bushel mark, so I think we at least hit that, so nothing to complain about. But the fun part is, goddamn elevator is going to be full of beans at 3. How in the hell guys can't cut beans for 2 weeks? We get a dry spell. Most guys have only been cutting beans since yesterday. There was a few cutting Friday. But for the most part, nobody really started hitting it hard until yesterday. How the fuck do you fill up on bean space in a day and a half? Like, how hard is it to read a weather map? If you were getting like a little over halfway full on bean space, you'd think, A, I either need to get a train in here to get this empty, because when it gets dry enough for guys to run, they're gonna go full bore. Or B, I need to get a train scheduled to show up about halfway into this dry spell so that we don't have to shut anybody down. But apparently, that's too hard. But what do I know? I'm just a dumb grain farmer. But anyway, I gotta get moved to the other field. I'm gonna swing by Mom and Dad's, grab some fuel. Dad's gonna come back, get this truck, take it down, get it empty, so we at least got 2 empty trucks. Maybe, I'm hoping I can call down there and sweet talk Corey into letting me bring another 300 bushel down. Because if I have 3 empty trucks, might be able to get done today, but we'll have to see what happens. So anyway, we'll catch you guys at the next field. Surprising the hell out of me. I really wasn't expecting much out of it. When I came over here and sprayed it, this field's been sprayed twice, and I still ended up with some weeds in it, but when I came over here and sprayed it the first time, there was only beans growing from like right here over. There was nothing, not a damn thing over on that side. And we got some rain, and then all the beans over there came up. So they're short, but man, they're loaded. There's a lot of beans out here. Dad just took the other truck down to the elevator, and I called to make sure that they would take it, and they said he'd probably be the last one they could get unloaded today. I forgot to ask if they're going to be taking beans tomorrow. But it took him 2 hours to get unloaded with that truck. Normally it takes 20 minutes. I don't know what the hell they're doing down there. see what time I get into, or see how much daylight I got left when I get both trucks loaded. And my buddy's got a single axle that I think he's got on standby because he just bought a tandem to go with his semi. So I'm not sure he's using it. I might see if I can borrow that, but we'll just have to see how things play out. So keep on keeping on. Shit's getting a little interesting. I gotta, this field opened up most of the way. Dad's truck, I got that thing heat. My truck's pretty much empty. It's got like 2 bushel in it. I wish I threw it on Dad's truck, but such is life. So I'm hoping to get my truck full tonight before it gets tough because the breeze died off on me. And then I got a gravity wagon that's a twin to the one that I built the we built the fertilizer wagon out of. I think that's a 200, or I think that's a 200 bushel wagon, or it's a 225 maybe. I can't remember. And then my buddy's got another one that's a twin to that. Elevator said they ain't gonna be taking beans again until Tuesday at the earliest. I had to really stop from chewing his ass on that one. Said Tuesday at the earliest, possibly Wednesday. Well, guess what happens on Wednesday? We start getting chances of rain again Wednesday afternoon. So, but I'm gonna borrow those 2 gravity wagons, train those, get those filled up tomorrow, see where I'm at. That's gonna get me pretty close to done, I think. We shall see. Yeah, and that's pretty much the plan right now. YouTube does not like it when there's music playing. So anyway, I gotta move the truck over the other field so it's not a haul to get to it. Keep on cutting. Well, basically as soon as the sun went down, the breeze went away and they got tough. So, yeah, hold on here. Anyway, they got tough. They started threshing out hard, not wanting to feed into the head, and so we'll have to have at it again in the morning. There's a lot of beans out here. I don't know if them 2 wagons are gonna cut it. I still got room in the truck, but I don't know if them 2 wagons are gonna get her done. I don't even have 4 rounds all the way around the outside yet. I got 4 passes along there and 4 along the back, and I got 3 along here, but hell, that's not even a drop in the bucket. So anyway, I guess we'll reconvene here in the morning. All right, here we go again. Today will hopefully be done with beans. I really hope. I just got done servicing the combine. We were only 2 miles from the house, so I figured it was easier just run it home and work on it there real quick, where I had all the tools, had a couple busted sickle sections. I did the weld job. I was having issues with the cutter bar. Since this chain isn't like the original one, and I don't know where I can find round link chain like the original one, I'll have to do some looking. But this will get me through. But what it would do is these 2 links would go slack, they'd double over on each other, and then they'd get wedged down here and you'd only have 4 links in the chain, and it'd keep the cutter bar wedged up, and that would screw with the automatic header height like nobody's business. So I welded these links together so that they can't do that anymore. Don't judge me for that weld job. I was trying to MIG in wind and that doesn't work, but they're stuck, so good enough. Then I greased it. I had to tighten the traction belt because that was slipping on me yesterday in the mud. But other than that, it should be good to go. I got probably a dump and a half left I could put in my grain truck. I got the 1800 sitting at the house with 2 wagons behind it we're gonna switch into. And I might still have to find another wagon because I mean, these beans are tall, they're thick, and they're loaded. I mean, these are probably hands down the best beans I've ever grown. These bastards are loaded. So anyway, we'll be done today. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take to source places to dump beans, because like I said yesterday, the elevator's not taken until at least tomorrow, possibly Wednesday, and I heard some people say they heard Thursday. So, but the elevator manager said tomorrow, so we'll just have to see how it plays out. So anyway, let's get after it. so small troubleshooting moment here. This damn thing, it wasn't doing it when I was in dry ground, but this ground's wetter than shit, as you obviously see, and it'll start pushing dirt right here, especially when you get into a sticky spot. At first I thought that it was shit building up on the skid, or pushing, like building up right here in the skid plate and start pushing. Well, then I saw this dork, this had a bunch of shit balled up on it right here, which is right about where the pile starts. And I was looking, this is the only skid plate that's got it. This one doesn't got one, this one's got it, this one does not have it, and this one does not have it. And I don't really fully understand what it does, other than catch shit. There's nothing bolted to it. I don't know if there was supposed to be something bolted to it at one time, but I'm gonna take this off and see if that helps, because it's not doing anything other than catching shit. And it's getting really annoying. And you end up running a bunch of dirt in the combine, and that's no good. And because there's so much stuff, there's so much dust rolling out of the feeder house, you can't see right here. So you don't know you're pushing a pile until A, either the reel stops, or B, the wind blows the dust away enough that you can see the pile of shit sitting here. So it's worth a shot. All right, so I got my truck pretty much heaped. You know, this corn, I could probably fit a little more in there, but them beans are gonna level off, so that's about all I can fit. Pulling that bracket off didn't help much. It was still doing it. So I couldn't, I just wanted to see what was going on for shits and giggles. While I was driving out of the field, I left the head shut off so that I could see what was going on, but I left it down in float. Sure as shit, drove about 20 feet through that, because it only does it really in the wet spots. And sure as shit, coming through that wet spot on top of the hill, it started pushing, and it's all sticking to the front of the skid pan like this. Because at first, or after I pulled that thing off, I'm like, okay, well, maybe for some reason in that one spot, the knife is duller than anywhere else. And maybe it's pulling the beans out by the root, and just they're building up, and then it starts pushing dirt. And it doesn't appear to be the case. For some reason, it is building up on this one skid plate. The other ones, it's not doing it on. It's only this guy, and I do not really know why, because it doesn't appear to be bent in any sort of different fashion than the other ones. But that being said, let's look at it from this way. It does not look like it's any freaking different than the rest of them, so I don't fully understand why it's just this one. But it's really damn annoying. What'll ultimately fix it, and what I was going to do anyway, but now I really want to get it done, is put poly liners on these things, like what they put on the new heads, and that'll take care of a lot of it. But anyway, it says in the book to adjust these things for your bar height to basically just bend them down. So I think I might bring a big crescent wrench maybe and see about bending the tail of that thing down a little bit, see if that helps. Because that's what it's doing. It's pushing off, it's hitting, it's like right here, and it's just building up with shit, and then the dirt starts sticking to the dirt, and it just starts balling up in front of the cutter bar. So, but I think I might bring, when I come back with the 1800, I think I might bring our big crescent wrench and bend the tail of that thing down a little bit and see if that helps some. Well, we are officially done cutting beans. Thank God. This last little section, this last little triangle right here in the front came kind of hard. This is the same spot last year that I had to work both sides with the corn, because this is where the hell it came from. I don't know. You'll have to ask the glaciers, because it's the only spot within Lord knows how far. But this is muck. Like this is more muck than the muck I farm where the last of the corn is right now. This is muck, like bottomless. Like you better watch your shit or you're not getting back out muck. This is where I got caught this morning, or stuck this morning. There's already water coming up in there. And then there must be that hillside must be draining right there, and I had to I'm gonna sneeze here. Hold on a next second, maybe. Yeah. There it went. Hate it when it's holding it right there and it just won't go. But I had to work that right there from both sides. That was unexpected. I've never had to do that before. But other than that, I mean, I was actually expecting this field to be a lot worse, because one of the very first videos I ever put up right after I started posting videos on YouTube, however long ago it was, not 7 years ago, I think. I don't know, it's been a long time. One of the very first videos I put up was shelling corn in this field with the 525, and from about 50 to 60 yards past the top of the hill all the way down to these end rows, you'd fall into mud up to the rims on the combine, and you were just steering with brakes all the way down and all the way back up. And that's just how this field lays. And there's nowhere to drain it. I mean, you can drain it that way, but you'd have to cross 2 property lines to do it, and you're getting into, because everything goes that way. That's where the fall is. So I mean, tile will definitely fix it. The problem is when you got nowhere to tile it to, you're running into issues. About the only other option you have is to tile it into that pond, but you wouldn't have enough to fix this spot down here. You're at grade with that pond, so you wouldn't get any fall, and your tile would be really shallow. But long story short, this little section here, I had to stop cutting that way and start cutting this away, which is why there's those little fuzzy spots. I was hopping up over the back furrow I had right there from when I moldboarded this. And I forgot to mention, I started yesterday and today I was cutting at an angle. I always cut at an angle with the 525 because you knock down less beans, and I didn't start cutting at an angle with that because I was skeptical with them wide ass snouts. But you cut it, and I mean, after seeing the last couple days of cutting, I don't even think I need to narrow those snouts up, because if you cut at like a 15 to 20 degree angle, you don't knock down any beans. The fields I cut straight, if you stood on the end row and looked down the field, you could tell every pass I made, because there'd be one row of beans laid down trying to stand back up because the head knocked them down and they wouldn't pick back up. So you could see every pass I made, there's a row of beans knocked down. You cut at an angle, doesn't do that. I was surprised as hell. I figured, as wide as those things are, if you cut at an angle, it'd stomp beans, you know, stomp a 10-inch wide patch of beans down, however wide them snouts are. But hell, they worked out pretty good. But anyway, gonna run the gravities back to the house, grab my pickup, come back with a leaf blower and a bucket, and blow the combine off and open all clean out doors. And the bucket will be for any beans that are left in it, and we'll dump them in here in the wagons. The wagons are pretty much even. I think there's a little bit more in the front one than there is in the back one. Yeah, they're pretty damn close though. So these are supposed to be J&M 250s, so I'd guess there's probably somewhere between 175 and 200 in them. Because if you leveled them off, if you leveled the piles off flat, they'd probably be right about to here. And I'd guess the extensions add the extra 50 bushel. So let's just say, well, we're not even going to do the math, because hopefully I can get all this hauled in tomorrow, and we can tell you tomorrow, but that'll be a separate video. But somewhere in the neighborhood of 800, figure 800 to 1,000 bushel off of 16 acres, because both trucks are chock full, and then both these wagons, and both trucks by themselves should be somewhere between 600 and 630, plus whatever's in here. So anyway, I guess CFEO 1800 will move these heavy bastards. I gotta remember to not leave my tool bag here either. Last thing I gotta do today is get them things in the barn. If I could get them unloaded tomorrow, I was just gonna leave them at the house and throw a tarp over them. But I called down to the elevator and they said, or he said, he wasn't sure they were gonna have the train tomorrow, so figure on Wednesday. So I don't want them sitting outside for 2 days, because it's supposed to be fairly breezy tomorrow. And have that tarp blow off or something stupid, or have a freak rainstorm come in, or because this time of year you never know. Just because it's not in the forecast doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. Hey, wasp. Damn it, I missed him. Die, you little bitch. I'm hoping I can snake those things in here and get the white back in, but I don't have very high hopes. hoping I can kind of rent and kind of make them turn them into a U and sneak out that corner of the barn. Tell you what, you do not know the relief I have getting them beans done. These last 2 weeks, everybody, well, not just me, but everybody was thinking, my God, are we ever going to be cutting beans again? It's a good thing I didn't have any more to go, though, or I'd be stuck sitting with nowhere to fucking dump beans again, but luckily we had them. Well, the front wagon is ours, the back wagon is Matt's. The front one's actually a twin to the fertilizer wagon. Dad bought them at the same time. This is actually the first load of grain I've ever hauled in it. Matt's used it more than I have. It's actually been sitting over at his house for the last 3 years, I think. Kind of forgot we had it. But I hate wagons. They're such a pain in the ass. You can't, well, you can pull them with a pickup, but it's slower than shit. And if you don't have a cushion hitch, it just beats the living dog shit out of the truck. And even with a cushion hitch, it still beats the living shit out of the truck. They don't trail straight loaded because they're all the weight's on one side because the cone gets deep on the one side. It's just, and it seems like it never fails. If you have wagons, you blow at least one tire or lose at least one wheel bearing every, it's just, trucks. That's why I got trucks. I ain't got to fuck with wagons. And I ain't gonna pull wagons behind the grain trucks because the whole point of having the grain trucks is you can haul 50 mile an hour loaded and you can get back to the field 55, 60 mile an hour unloaded. You ain't gonna do that with freaking wagons. I hate wagons. Cannot stand them. And then, the only thing you're good for is hauling grain, so the rest of the time they're just sitting there degrading. Because I mean, yeah, if you got enough barn space, you can keep them outside, but let's face it, when you start running out of barn space, things like wagons are the first things to get kicked outside into the tree line. Really need to trim that tree branch. And then that's a bunch of tires to take care of, and you got to check the wheel bearings every year because, like I say, it seems like at least once a year everybody who knows got wagons loses a wheel bearing somewhere, and it never fails. It always goes out loaded. So then you got what, 4 ton of grain on that gear. I don't like wagons, in case you can't tell. That being said, it is kind of fun hauling with a tractor. I will say that. But that's the only thing I'll pull wagons with loaded is a tractor, because they can't manhandle a tractor like they can a pickup. Now, if you got a newer wagon that's got hydraulic surge brakes on it and lights and all that fancy stuff, and you're hauling 500-600 bushel of grain at a shot, okay. Maybe, but you're still gonna be pulling it with a tractor, because a wagon that big, you sure as shit ain't pulling with a truck. Tongue, I should be able to get the door shut. And I'll be damned, I might be able to sneak the white back in here if I tuck the nose over here. Hell yeah! How about that? I need a block. And then you either gotta have a tarp on them, or you gotta have a place to park them loaded. I mean, corn ain't such a big deal because corn won't soak up moisture, but beans gotta have a tarp. Ooh. Actually, sweet, the door will just slide up over the tongue. There's my tire tracks. They're right there. Oh yeah, she'll fucking fit. I was worried the poor girl was gonna have to sit outside. Hopefully we get to start chisel plowing here at some point. I think just because of ground conditions, I'm doing all the chisel plowing with this thing this year. Nope, not reverse. Kind of curious to see how I'm going to put that 3-point Oliver plow on it to my 11 shank to do the bean ground. And kind of curious to see how fast I can, well, I'm not going to go super stupid fast, but kind of curious to see how well it handles 11 shanks. Oh, hell yeah. Look at them apples. Well, with that, I think we are good to go. So you'll just have to wait to see how good that field did until I haul those wagons in, which will probably be, well, I'm gonna, hopefully Wednesday before I go to work, I'll have enough time to get all the beans hauled in, get everything empty. So you'll have to wait till probably Wednesday to see how good that field did. So I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.